GPU shortages seem to be getting even worse and prices are going up even higher. Is 2021 looking to be the worst year for building a PC ever? Let's talk about a few key factors that may make it so. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. Remember to smash that like button. Some say every time you smash that like button, one more GPU pops out of Jensen's oven and into the hands of a waiting gamer. Alright, so at the end of 2020, we were kind of excited thinking after the new year, hopefully everything's going to get back to normal. There are going to be more manufacturing ramp ups. We're going to get more GPUs. The prices, we really weren't thinking of them that much. They were pretty standard at the end of 2020, but little did we know, as soon as 2021 started, we were going to get hit with a barrage of issues ranging not only from more GPU shortages, but to make matters worse, the GPUs that are available were at really high MSRP prices. First, let's talk about the GPU shortage issue. Of course, ticking over the clock over to 2021 did not seem to fix any of the issues at all. In fact, everything is pretty much worse than it was last year. Now, GPU shortages on both Nvidia and AMD side continue to hold true. There were periods in 2020 at the end where there would be some larger drops of GPUs, and even in January of 2021, occasionally there would be an interesting drop, maybe at Best Buy where people were able to pick up Founders Editions, or people waiting on that EVGA queue were able to get their GPUs. But in general, I think January was still a pretty bad month for people building their computers, trying to get components, and it doesn't look like February is going to be any better. So the key factors affecting GPU shortages remain. First, there definitely is a huge amount of demand across the board. First, this of course is going to be from gamers. Everybody wants to get their hands on these new GPUs. Of course, the excitement has died down a little bit since they're getting so expensive, but in general, all of these GPUs sell out really fast. And of course, we do have cryptocurrency miners. Cryptocurrency seems to be at record highs lately, so a lot of people also are buying a decent amount of GPUs to use for that purpose. So when you put that very high demand together with logistic issues due to manufacturing and everything else that has been going on the last year, you reach sort of a critical junction where people want to get GPUs and really they simply can't. It's getting to the point where even if you follow certain stock notifications, unless you get really lucky with a certain drop, you may not be able to even get a chance at getting the GPU for a significant amount of time. So even these stock drops are seemingly getting worse, and it seems like that a lot of the recent reporting really is pointing into shortages not being better at all for 2021. Maybe the best that we can hope for is around July or August they start to get a little bit better at least. That's not even guaranteed, so it looks like we're definitely going to be playing this losing battle with stock and availability. And then we reach the second problem. MSRP prices at the beginning of 2021, because of the exemption on tariffs, have gone up a considerable amount. Of course, this isn't the only reason. I'm sure the companies out there are seeing the massive amount of demand, and all of these companies have raised their prices across the board. A lot of these GPUs are pretty ridiculously expensive now. I did a video before where a 3070 MSI Supreme GPU was $799, which is well above the MSRP of the Founders Edition 3070 at $499. But these price increases have pretty much gone up across the board. Some companies raised more than others. Looks like EVGA kept the prices a little bit closer to what they were before. For example, something like a 3090 maybe got like a $70 price increase, while some other GPUs, like maybe from Asus or MSI, seem to get a much more significant price increase. A lot of them seem to be well over $2,000 now for some of the higher end models, which certainly is pretty shocking, as the 3090 already seemed like not a great value at $1,500. But now, when we're seeing even 6900 XT MSRP GPUs at over $1,500, and most 3090s seem to be around $2,000 or more MSRP for the most part. I mean, these are like scalper level prices that we're seeing, but of course they're MSRP, so it's definitely thrown the whole gaming community, the whole PC hardware community pretty much on its head and thrown us for a loop. We were expecting the MSRP prices that we were shown just a few months ago, but now all of a sudden, because of these various different reasons, we certainly have to deal with these ridiculously high prices, and it's definitely not that fun if you have to pick up any PC component right now. And while CPU CPUs aren't nearly as bad as what's happening with the GPUs. A lot has also happened with the Ryzen 5000 CPUs. They've been immensely popular, selling out pretty much almost instantly, especially the higher end SKUs. And it seems like even the 3000 series Ryzen CPUs have gone up in price. A lot of them have sold out as well. Of course, a lot of people have been buying sort of 10th generation Intel CPUs. Some of them have actually presented a pretty good value, but it goes without saying, most people definitely are looking at AMD for the most part. That's why these stock issues have been occurring. And now Intel 11th generation should be coming out fairly soon, but I believe that may be a very difficult sell from the start. First, the motherboard prices for Z590 are through the roof. Even something like an Asus Hero is $500 now, where it used to be in the $300 range. Some motherboards, the really high-end ones, are well over $1,000. So I think Intel has a very tough battle on their hands. Not only these expensive motherboards, but even sort of the 11900K, which is supposed to be the flagship, it's gone down to just 8 core, 16 threads. But from reports, the IPC has improved. Of course, that's certainly going to be great for gaming. You don't need too much more than 8 core, 16 thread for gaming, but a lot of people have gotten used to getting the Ryzen CPUs with 12 and 16 cores on the mainstream. So it's definitely going to be a little bit tricky to get people to move from AMD to Intel, even if the Intel chip performs a lot better. Not to mention that the next generation Intel, the 12th generation, which is supposed to have even better gains, should be coming up fairly soon after 11th generation. So I really don't think this Intel 11th generation chipset and CPU are going to be very popular at all, and maybe one of those that just get sort of overlooked in history. Who knows, maybe Intel 12th generation is going to have considerably better gains and much more interesting performance compared to AMD. But for now, this just shows you that CPUs being sold out, AMD still is the best game in town, and there really isn't too much on the horizon until maybe the end of the year or even early next year. So the CPU situation, while not as dire as the GPU situation, still seems pretty tricky as well to navigate if you can't get your hands on a newer Ryzen 5000. So if you want to build or upgrade your PC now, what do? Of course, there are still ways to do it. Just keep an eye on all of the different, stock notifications. Check your Micro Center, your local stores. If you can get a component now, it's probably the best time to get it. Who knows, prices may go up in the future even more, and availability probably will continue to be this difficult all the way up until the end of the year. So if you have to get something now, unfortunately, you're going to have to play that game almost like a scavenger hunt and really be able to find it. You most likely will not find easy and readily available stock, so you're just gonna have to sort of play the game and see until something pops up. But for the most part, it certainly is a very difficult time to build a PC right now or even upgrade your components. And as we work our way out of this, it's certainly gonna take months. So I think for most of the year, the situation is gonna be like this. So it's certainly a bit of a free-for-all out there. So you just have to get whatever hardware you can get your hands on, enjoy it, play your games. Sometimes you may be okay with your older generation hardware. 20 series is still great. Doesn't mean you can't play newer games. You just have to dial down some of the graphics a little bit. You don't always need the latest and greatest, but I understand it's frustrating if you're building a system and you can't get your hands on all of this hardware that you see people constantly reviewing as well as hyped up. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck out there searching for hardware. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.